Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I'm a certified personal trainer.
Hi, I'm Kate, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist.
And this is a podcast dedicated to educating women on their journey to optimal health. There's so much that we can do to optimize our health, but we've talked to so many women who just simply don't know how.
These conversations are what inspired us to start Omnia Fit. The Omnia Fit podcast is all about interviewing certified professionals to educate women on improving our health. We'll talk about things like stress relief through exercise, what we need to know about our hormones, the truth behind fad diets, and more. So subscribe, follow along, and let us know if there are any topics you want to hear more about. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of the Omnia Fit podcast. This is Kate here, and in today's episode, I am interviewing my lovely co-host Stephanie, personal trainer, as most of you know who are repeat listeners. And today we talked about what it means to kind of get into working out. So whether you are brand new to starting to work out, whether you used to work out and now you want to get back into it, maybe you want to try a brand new workout routine, this episode is for you. So this episode is all about how to start working out, and I hope you all enjoy. So Steph, as a personal trainer, I'm sure that you have heard this question a million times, but for many of our listeners, it might be something that they're currently thinking listening to our podcast, and that is kind of just the general question of how do I start working out? Like, where do I begin as a total beginner?
Obviously, just reach out to me and set up a consultation. No, kind of kidding, not really. But where you really start, where I would tell people, actually is to go back a couple episodes and listen to the Building Habits podcast, because a lot of my advice actually stems from that. So definitely go back and listen to it. I'll summarize a couple of key points here and then can give specific advice to actual working out. And the first thing is to really understand why you want to work out.
Yeah.
Why is it important to you? Is nagging at you? Did your doctor tell you? Do you want to look better? What is that? What is that why? What's that reason you want to start? Because if you don't have a really strong reason, what's going to keep you motivated in the times where you don't feel like working out, or that alarm clock goes off to go to a 6 a.m. workout and you just don't feel like it and roll over. If you don't have a really strong why, it's going to be really tough to get yourself to do something that you probably don't love to do. It's hard, you get sweaty. Some people love it. It can take a little bit to get there though. So really understanding why you want to start working out, finding your motivation. If you need more advice, listen to the Building Habits podcast. But then also kind of stemming from that podcast, we talked about taking manageable steps. And really, because I see a lot of times when people start working out, a lot of things happen, but the two primary things I usually see are either people set a million goals where they want to start, or maybe not a million goals, but they set really extreme goals. Like if they haven't moved from their couch in a year, now they want to start working out 6 days a week, taking an hour-long high-intensity class. They just go from 0 to 100 so quick. And so they tend to overexert themselves, or people think that that's what they have to do. They have to set those goals, and then they get really intimidated by it. So that's kind of what I see happen if you don't listen to the Building Habits podcast and go about it that way.
Yeah, and I think that intimidation factor is so real. Do you kind of just want to define more what you mean by intimidated? What could be so intimidating about the process?
Yeah, so this is something I've heard a lot of because, as I mentioned in other podcasts, my specialty is working with people who are brand new to working out, whether either they've never worked out before or they haven't worked out in a while. And a lot of the main concerns they get, and where kind of what I mean by that intimidation, is they either, one, don't know what the heck to do. They don't know how to structure a workout or even what to do for a workout, or don't have access to things to work out, or just, it's that question mark of really education on what to do. Some people are intimidated because they're nervous about being scared, nervous about injuring themselves. So about doing something wrong and getting hurt, which is very valid, especially as we age. And then for other people, it can be true intimidation. I think there's a phrase for it, gym intimidation. I don't know if
I've
I
heard
said
that
that
before.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's you go into a gym and in one corner there's the people doing their thing, and then in the other corner there's the skinny people running on the treadmill, just looking like they're not breaking a sweat, and everything in between. And so it can be intimidating for someone going to the gym for the first time. So kind of all those things, all encompassing, are what I mean by that.
And I think that even applies to like trying a new type of exercise. Like I've been a runner for years, I played sports, and I tried a bar class for the first time, and everyone there had matching outfits and special socks. And I came in after work sweaty already from walking there in old gym clothes, and immediately was like, I will never come back. not because I couldn't do the workout, but because like sometimes there's that thing inside yourself of like, oh, this is new to me and not to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like squashing that feeling of it's okay to be new at something.
Right. Well, and there can be that comparison factor too of maybe you didn't have a matching piece set and didn't know half the people in the room like everybody else, and so it can seem a little like you're an outsider sometimes. And that's where hopefully most gyms are really welcoming and help against that. But it's a tough thing. It's easier said than done to say, I'm here for the workout, who cares what anyone else is doing?
Yeah.
It's tough to not look around the room and see the matching outfits and perfect poses and
flashbacks to like the PE tests, those American fitness tests.
Oh my gosh.
That's why we all get intimidated.
Yep. Yeah, thinking about doing that in front of all your classmates, best friends, your crush.
The sit-up test.
Yeah. Mine was the stretching. I could never touch my toes.
No, never. No. I was good at the sit-ups, but could not do the stretching either. So
yep.
Yeah, here we are. And I know like another thing that you kind of mentioned seeing is like people getting worn out or kind of like burnt out too, like when they first get started. Do you want to kind of go into that more?
Yeah, so that's diving deeper into what I mentioned. People, it's kind of like the New Year's resolution people where they say, I'm going to go to the gym X amount of days, work out for X amount of time, or they sign up for a marathon, or they set some goal that is amazing but may not be realistic. And so what I mean by that is, if you've been sitting on the couch for the last year, it's probably not the smartest thing to sign up for a marathon. Maybe you want to start off with a 5K.
Yeah.
Or you want to start off with just a little bit of movement. So a lot of people will, like this New Year's Revolutionary War.
The New Year's Revolutionary War.
Oh my Lord, it's late at night.
This is a late night episode.
Oh my gosh, everyone put on their red coats and
put on your red coat for the gym.
Yep. There you go, that's your matching outfit. Oh my goodness. The New Year's resolutioners. You go to the gym 5-6 days a week, like you said you're going to. You do that for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then in week 4, you only go to the gym 3 times a week. And technically, according to your goal, you failed. You only hit 60% of your goal, even though you still went to the gym 3 days that week. So people either get worn out because they can't stick to the goal that they created for themselves. It was too much for them. It was too much of a jump, I should say.
Yeah.
And then other people, I've seen it where people stick to that level of intensity or that amount of working out, but their body isn't ready for it, and then they end up getting injured, or they pull a hamstring, or or they all of a sudden are starting to get super tired and don't understand why they're exhausted all day long. And a number of things can happen, but they can get worn out mentally by these big goals or physically by these big goals.
Yeah, for sure. And so kind of like, what would you say is your maybe like first couple steps of, okay, they went back and listened to our podcast, they know where the motivation is coming from, they know they can't dive in at 100 miles per hour. So what is like the best first few steps to take?
Yeah, I think it's really taking an evaluation of yourself and where you're at. Like I said, if you've been sitting on the couch for the last year, haven't had that much movement, take that into account. You know, if you've done 0 workouts a week, maybe set your goal for 1 or 2. If you've been going to the gym once or twice a week, add a day to it. So I think really taking a true, honest evaluation with yourself, and the honesty here can be easier said than done. I'll even use myself as an example. A few years ago, especially in college and transitioning jobs, etc., definitely went through my peaks and valleys of being consistent in the gym. I'd get really in shape for a few months, and then something would happen, I'd fall off for a few months, get back into it. And every time I would try to get back into it, I would start off with the workouts I remembered I was able to do in college when I was an active rugby player and was a runner, doing half marathons and all these other things. I would start off doing those workouts because I knew my body was capable of them, but I wasn't honest with myself in the fact that my body wasn't ready for it at that point, that I needed to build up to it. So I think taking a really hard look at yourself and realistically seeing where you're at physically, and then setting a goal a little bit beyond that. Once you hit that goal consistently for a few weeks, add to it. And that comes with, too, when you're looking at what to do, don't discount things like just moving. It doesn't need to be signing up for a really expensive gym or committing, you know, doing an hour-long HIIT workout or crazy circuit or something like that. I mean, your goal can be walking for 30 minutes. Like, do not underestimate how great walking is for your health. Walking 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, and that's even 2 or 3 days a week. Like, that's an amazing place to start. So being realistic. I think also finding something that's really fun to do. People, again, maybe think they need to go to the gym and get in front of the weights or hop on the treadmill. Some people love that. Some people freaking dread it. If you dread it, maybe don't start there. Maybe if you have a dog, bring your dog to the park and throw a ball around and run around with them for 30 minutes. You're up on your feet moving around. Who cares if it's not a perfectly structured class? You're moving. Or play with your kids, or you have a niece or nephew, or some other being with a lot of energy that you can chase around for a half hour. You know, do that if that's fun. Could even be, I know you're on a kickball team, so like your kickball team, we'll ignore the fact that you guys drink with it as well, but
what do you mean?
but that's still movement, you know, you're joining a recreational volleyball league or basketball or kickball or something fun.
I legitimately had new sore muscles. Like, after the first game, we all came in the office and we were like, do you have weird pains in the back of your leg from kicking a ball? Because when do you kick a ball as an adult? Like, when do you wind up and like full force kick a ball? Like, that's a new type of movement for your body.
Well, you probably think about it a lot sometimes, but that's another, we're not going to emphasize that. But yeah, exactly. So you're using muscles that you haven't used, you're up on your feet, running around, having fun, and you're with people too. So that's another thing, you know, something enjoyable could be just doing something with a friend. My mom, she, back before the pandemic, every single day on her lunch would grab either the same friend or a different friend and just go for a 30-minute walk around their building. So kind of summarizing everything I just said, being honest with yourself and setting realistic goals, finding something that you enjoy and that doesn't need to be joining a gym right away. I mean, at some point you're gonna need to do more than, you know, going for a walk or something, but at least to start, you know, get in the habit. And then, do it with friends, and forgot the other thing I said. But yeah, those are good places to start.
And then kind of going off of that, what would you say to someone who is in this mindset of, I don't even know what I like to do, and maybe they've tried a couple things and not really liked them, but thought like, maybe I could like that, I'm not sure, or should I just try something different? Kind of what should the mindset be around that? Like, I don't even know what I enjoy.
Yeah, I think this is a beautiful thing to drag a friend along with you, whether it's a friend who they go to the gym that you want to try out, or they've gone to classes that you want to try out, or even if they haven't, maybe you're both nervous, but going together can really help lessen that sense of unknown, and that can be one of the more intimidating things of, you know, walking into a new place and not even knowing where the bathrooms are. Like, that can be scary, just simply not knowing even what the floor is set up like, not knowing where things are, feeling kind of silly for walking around, where are the dumbbells, where are the treadmills, and kind of that sense. So or if it's a new class and there's a lot of people who go there who already know what they're doing, and you know that can be a little intimidating. Find a friend, drag someone along with you.
Yeah.
Maybe promise them lunch after or something, or maybe you both are in the same boat and want to lean on each other to try out new classes. My biggest piece of advice would be to just keep trying and to not give up, and to celebrate the fact that you're still pushing through and trying to find something that you really enjoy. Because I mean, hopefully you find something. I mean, even walking with a friend, if you like that friend enough, you'll at least like walking. So start there.
Yeah, and I think too, it's easy to forget that everyone was a beginner at every type of activity they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the women in my bar class who had matching outfits on, they didn't walk in the first day. Like knowing everyone, knowing the routine, having the outfit, the special socks. They've probably been doing bar for like 3 years. You know, that's why they got there. And even like myself, I've been a runner now for like 10 years. I started my freshman year of college because I told my college boyfriend to make me run a mile, and he would lap me on like the mile around the lake, and I would be moving at like the slowest pace possible, thinking how I hated running, but I wanted to get into it. And then like it took me 3 years to run my first half marathon. So it wasn't like I just woke up and I was like, I'm a runner now and I'm really good at it and I love it every single day.
That's actually a really good point. If you try something and you don't love it, why didn't you like it?
Yeah.
Was it because you weren't good at it and maybe you just need more practice, a little bit more help, more repetitions under your belt?
Yeah.
Or I can relate to the bar class, because I remember my first bar class, I walked in, saw all these ladies. I'm pretty muscular for a girl, so looking at myself, looking at them, I'm like, I got this. I go for the 8, 10, 12 pound weights for everything. And I was dying. Oh my gosh. They were making me look like, they made me look like I wasn't a trainer at all. I was just like sweating and had to drop weights. I did everything bodyweight. I didn't even use dumbbells for things. So, you know, for that, I, one, wasn't good at it. So had I kept with it, I would have gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
But then two, it's just not for me. And so I was able to realize that, and I haven't really done it since. So I think asking yourself why you don't like it can help.
I think there's that combination, right? Like you said, like sometimes we get mad at ourselves because we're competitive maybe, or like to be really good at something. And so if we're not good, we're like, oh, well, it's not, like, I can't do this because I'm not good at it and I won't be good at it. But that's not always the case. But yeah, there's the other factor of sometimes you just won't like to do something, and that's totally okay.
Yeah. Thankfully, there's a million things in the world that you can do with good movement. So, yeah.
There's something for everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then kind of tying back to that gym intimidation term we used. Let's say it's not even maybe mental. It's truly maybe you walk into the gym and you don't know what to do. Like you see the equipment and you have never used it, you don't know what to do with it, and you don't necessarily want to ask just a random person around you. What are kind of your tips for that situation?
One, you're not alone, because some of those machines, I don't even know how to use them. They look like some complex, like, gotta put your body in weird, I don't understand a lot of them too. So I'm a professional and you're not alone. Two, if you're single and the other person's really cute, maybe do ask someone next to you.
But not if they have headphones.
Yes, true. Yeah, don't piss them off. Understand the body language. But no, that's a really, really valid point. And thankfully, a lot of gyms, even like the big box gyms, there's usually a trainer there. So if it's not the person next to you working out, usually if you go to the desk and ask someone to show you how to use a machine or how to do a certain exercise, they'll usually have someone on staff to help you. That's not always the most fun to do either. So a few other things that you can do is, I mean, I joked with this at the beginning, but legitimately reach out to a trainer.
Yeah.
It is an investment, but there's been some clients I've had where they did like a month or two with me just to get the basics down, you know, understanding how to do a proper squat, a proper deadlift, proper lunge, proper chest press, you know, some of the main movements, just to make sure they had that form down and understood how to do it correctly. So that can be a good investment, just like a month or two with the trainer and then off on your own. That's totally fine. There's also a lot of great places to learn how to do movements online. So you can follow an online trainer, follow an online class. And really good ones will be very audible about how to do movements, and even though they can't see you through the screen, calling out form corrections and common things that they see and can probably tell that you're doing, because most people do certain things incorrectly. I'm doing this for the OmniaFit videos. There are lots of form suggestions in there, so if you wait a month and a half, we'll have lots of videos for you to follow. But there's others out there as well that you can look up. Or if you really want that in-person interaction but maybe don't want to invest in a personal trainer, it can be pricey, try a class. Go to a class-based gym for, even if it's just a month or two, again, to get that a little bit of movement under your belt, and to make sure, even if it's not one-on-one, having a professional there to watch your form and telling you what to do. That those are all great ways to do it, either in person or online. But just doing a little bit of research and kind of having a few practice runs. Using some training wheels before you go off on your own into the gym.
A little buffer.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that was kind of what Steph had for us today for how to begin working out. As always, you can reach out to either of us at info@omniafit.co. In a month and a half, you'll be able to watch Steph do her own form corrections on video.
Or just reach out to me, either's fine.
And that is pretty much our show for today. So,
perfect. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Adios.
Feeling inspired yet? We've got you covered. At the very end of the season, we'll be launching our OmniaFit website. You'll be able to access a platform filled with on-demand workouts like yoga, HIIT, Zumba, bar, and more from several amazing instructors. You'll also have access to meal prepping tips, personalized grocery lists, and dozens of recipes given the official okay by our incredible dietitian, Kate.
Along with everything Stephanie mentioned, you'll also have access to schedule appointments with some of the licensed professionals featured in this season. Email info@omniafit.co to stay updated on our November launch date. You'll want to stay tuned because our first season listeners get their first month free. Just use promo code POD2021, that's POD 2021, to redeem.